resources. We discover the no fluff action steps to help you avoid all the overwhelm and all the BS out there, connecting you with the right mentors, resources, and tools, helping you every step of the way on your entrepreneurial journey. We go live here twice a week, interviewing different entrepreneurs and experts on all areas of business. So make sure to join our Facebook group and look out for the events inside your entrepreneur resources page. You can find the links in the description box. Our guest for today is Viv Guy. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Bernice?
I'm doing really well, thank you. So, setting up her first award-winning business from scratch at the age of 22 and growing it to a turnover of 1.5 million pounds a year, Viv has learned what it's like to grow a successful and profitable business from scratch, not once, but 3 times. In this interview, we're going to be talking about the challenges entrepreneurs face when it comes to getting consistent clients and without having to work crazy hours in the process, and the best strategies to become a high performance entrepreneur so you can create the business you dreamed of without working 60 hours a week in the process. I'm so excited for this topic. I think it's such an important one that a lot of people don't really realize is important. We don't want to be like tied down and just working day to night and just not having a life, right? That's not what entrepreneurship is all about. So before we jump in and dive into this topic, could you tell us a little bit more about you and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a high performance business coach, and I'm really passionate. I work a lot with what I call corporate escapees. So people who've kind of gone, enough of the 60 to 80 hour weeks in corporate, which is, I'm talking high achievers who've really kind of gone top of the game, and then kind of gone, there's got to be more, there's got to be something else. And, a lot of people have kind of tapped into this entrepreneurial calling to do something else. So I work with a lot of people because then they start their own business and kind of go, oh, now I'm still working 60 to 80 hour weeks and I'm not earning kind of the money I used to be earning. And this is hard. They've had a passion to go into what they do, whether it be coaching, therapy, whatever that might be. And then struggle with the business development side because they don't have teams like in corporate that they can just go, here's a marketing team, here's a sales team, here's a, admin team, here's everything else, here's the accounting, finance department to do all of that stuff. Suddenly it's in-house, having to do it all yourself and trying to do the thing you're really passionate about. So that's what I do, and absolutely love that work. Really, really varied, get fantastic results with clients. And the big thing I'm passionate about is because I made this mistake in my first business. I was that slave to the business and working 60 to 80 hour weeks for a long time. I'd do the regular kind of getting ill, burning out because I pushed so hard, and I let my business kind of run my life. So I did the whole the reverse of what you should be doing, which is I built my my business around my life, or vice versa, life around my business, instead of my business around my life, which is what I'm very, very passionate about now. Is design the life that you want and then fit that business around that life. But it took me a long time to kind of learn that, and it's the results actually, you can create a much more profitable business by actually working less hours. And I know it's a bit of a cliche, the whole work less, earn more philosophy. But, I do have a really strong belief that when we work less, we focus on the right activities then, because we don't have this infinite amount of time, and it comes back down to Parkinson's law and those kind of principles of, that you fill the time you've got available. And actually when you only, I only work 20 hours a week. So I know that in those 20 hours, I have to serve my clients, I have to market my business, and I'm very, very focused with the activities I do within that time.
Absolutely. That's so important. Do you think that entrepreneurs tend to work ridiculously long hours? And why do you think they do that?
Yeah, I mean, as a society and culture, there's this whole belief that, especially around entrepreneurship, that when you're starting your business, you have to work long hours for the first 1, 2, 3, whatever years it is. But that's a habit. Once you start working those hours, you are developing the habit. and the mindset that, you know, you have to put in these long hours. And, you know, suddenly you can go, right, I've made multi 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever that financial goal is. But then you want more. So you keep saying, well, I'll just keep working, you know, more hours until that next thing. But what is that, you know, what is that next thing? And when will you kind of say enough's enough? So actually, if we design it sort of back to front and reverse engineer that this is where, you know, aspire to work 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week, 30, whatever that might be, from the start, we're already developing that good habit and that good mindset. So yeah, it's very much like a cultural, societal impact and influence that we are led by, and you know, and it starts within our working careers. And I was reading an article from the BBC a few weeks ago, actually, which was talking about this thing called presenteeism. And it's, even though people, you know, with COVID are working from home, you know, a lot more now, there's still this thing that we are present. And with technology, you know, we're always on our phones. It used to be Blackberries back in the day when I started my first business, you know, phones. So we're always present with social media, emails. We're always on call. We always feel we have to be present at work, you know, whether you're employed or self-employed. But it very much becomes that thing, you know, when you become an entrepreneur and start your own business, that you feel you have to be there all the time. And it's hard to switch off because you're really driven and passionate about, you know, your business. And of course, you know, we want you to love your business, but actually you perform better in your business when you have boundaries and you have that balance, you know. And it's proven, it's scientifically proven, you know, that we need to have, you know, time for relationships, time for rest, time for recreation, and so on and so forth, to actually perform, you know, better as human beings within our roles. And you know, and in Denmark, they've massively, dramatically cut their working hours, you know, and I find but their productivity has soared as a result, you know. And so that, you know, I absolutely love their philosophy and what they've created over there. You know, I think I would love to see that happen across the globe, you know, for employed and self-employed people, because, you know, there needs to be a shift. You know, I think we're working longer and longer hours, you know, and we look at all the issues that people have around health, mental health issues, you know, burnout, fatigue, you know, like physical illnesses as well. And, you know, you think, is this down to work? And again, this whole concept of like presenteeism. So even if you're not physically sat at your desk, you're still there, you're still not switching off from it. So yeah, like a lot big passion there for me, you know. I kind of really want to change the world, you know, and change the beliefs that people have around this whole like having to work long hours to achieve, you know, success.
Yeah, I can hear the passion in your voice, honestly. Like it's coming through the screen, coming through the audio, and I love this. And I know that you're so passionate about, you know, the balance between work and life, but how do we know what to focus on? Because like you said, as an entrepreneur, whether you're a new entrepreneur or a seasoned entrepreneur, you tend to kind of have your toes dipped in every single plate, and like, you know, you've got so many things going on. So how do you know what to focus on, and what should you prioritize? How do you know what are the things that are truly moving your business forward?
Okay, well, the first thing that most people forget to do is sell, you know, and profit, and focus on the profit and revenue generating activities. You know, everyone's really busy like creating lovely like graphics and branding colors and fonts and websites, and focus on so many of those things early on in the business. You know, I need to do this and da da da. And actually, it's like, actually, what are the activities? So think, you know, what are the key activities that are going to get me having conversations, you know, whether that's via email, via social media, via networking, via referral partnerships. You know, there's so many different ways to have those kind of conversations that can lead to sort of revenue generating activities. So, you know, it's about honing in on which of those activities, you know, works for you. Because again, there's so many people like, oh, I'm starting a business, I must have a Facebook group, you know, and because that's, you know, what a lot of people are preaching out there. You must have a Facebook group. And actually there are so many other ways, and for a lot of people that sucks. You know, for me, I was like, you know, everyone's like, oh, you're so great, you know, chatting to our Facebook group. I'm like, I just don't love being on Facebook, you know. Whereas for me, connecting with people, having conversations, doing things like this, actually, you know, talking to people one-on-one, you know, and being able to go to networking, working with referral partnerships, and building really meaningful like in-person relationships for me is something I'm passionate about. But it's finding what is right for you is the first thing, because, you know, consistency is key, and we get sick of hearing that, you know, consistency is key. But, you know, when we're consistent, you know, the cumulative actions, those small actions that we do, you know, each day will help us, you know, start to build up and develop those, you know, those lead to generating like consistent revenue. So a lot of, you know, my clients come to me and they're making money, but it's, you know, very much like feast to famine mode. So they'll be in like full on, like, I've got loads of clients and then nothing. And it's looking at why is that? What is triggering the inconsistency within their habits and behaviors around their marketing? And sometimes it's, I just do not like this method of marketing, you know, that I'm doing. So we kind of go, right, well, let's stop doing that. Let's do something that actually works for you and that lights you up. Because when we're passionate about something we do, when we take joy from it, and when we're energized by the work we're doing, you know, we get into flow. So the productivity flow, which is the flow state which we all want to be in, because when we're in flow state, you know, we work better, we feel happier, we feel more fulfilled, and we get the results, you know. So instead of kind of saying, I'm going to slog away at doing this, but actually, you know, I procrastinate hugely over getting onto this task, so it's taking more time off my day. Actually, when you go, I actually love showing up for this, you know, so for you, maybe it's like the podcast, you know, I love doing this, it lights me up. It doesn't feel like hard work to do it. Yes, there are hard work elements, you know, editing and whatever those bits, but actually you love and take joy from what you do. So I really want people to tap into what is it that lights up their soul, you know, and kind of gets them into, I call it the flow zone. So what is it that, you know, what are the activities that sit within your flow zone, and do more of those, you know, and identify which revenue generating activities, marketing activities sit within your flow zone, and the other ones, you know, stop doing them, you know, focus on those that work well for you. So that is the key thing, because actually, yes, we think all the other things are really important, but actually, you know, yes, you know, all the brand designers out there are probably going to go, oh, curse her. But, you know, you know, to get to your first six figures, you do not need to have like perfect branding. You know, it's not true. You need to get out there, get your message out there and talk to people and have conversations and spread the word and be visible, but in a way that works for you.
Absolutely. I love that you bring up consistency, because that's all we hear. Like you said, every day they say, you know, be consistent, post regularly on social media. And I love that you tie in so well with the passion part as well. How do we make sure, in your own opinion, how do we make sure that our fire keeps burning and that we can stay consistent? Because I'm completely guilty of this, but I tend to lose my fire. I lose my passion. How do we make sure that we, you know, don't tire ourselves out, don't get burnt out by, you know, keep staying super consistent and then forget to take care of ourselves?
Yes. So again, this is building in those habits. So, you know, I'm a massive fan of time blocking. So it's about building in that self-care, you know. And like I said, I sucked at this. You know, my first business, I used to take my lunch to work and then I'd bring my lunch home, and my husband used to say to me, oh, you took your packed lunch for a day out again, you know, not eating. So I didn't eat, I didn't hydrate. I was terrible. You know, and now I have an alarm go off on my phone to say lunch in 3 minutes, you know, that's it. So wrap up what you're doing, you know, it's lunchtime, because I'm terrible. So I have alarms, you know, if you kind of go, right, I've time blocked it, but I'm still rubbish, set alarms on your phone so you know that actually this is the time. And you know, that's great to say that, but again, you have to then consciously make the decision and take the action that actually, yes, as much as I'm really, 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 you know, into what I'm doing, I need to stop, because actually, if I don't protect my energy, this could have a really big knock-on effect. And I was chatting to one of my one-to-one clients this week who has some health issues, and he went to do some training in London, but on the back of that, in his 5 days out, walked like 20,000 steps a day, sightseeing and do the touristy thing. But that had a massive knock-on effect to his energy. And therefore, for the next 3 to 4 weeks, he has not been focused on revenue generating activities, because he's just felt anxious, burnt out, tired. So actually, it's a case of protect that energy, you know, and you know, as a real life sort of example. So he said to me, but I was there And because obviously we'd spent money to stay over in London, you know, it made sense for them to then, you know, utilize that investment of staying over while he was doing his training there. But I said, okay, but if you'd come back, given your track record, you would have maybe made £5,000 to £7,500 in those next 3 weeks, which would have then funded a really nice stay in London, you know, where you weren't trying to train and do the tourist thing on the back of it, but you know, you could have actually just gone for a real holiday and rested, protected your energy. So it's about sometimes thinking, you know, what's the long game here, not just kind of trying to do it all now. So protect that energy is a big part of that. And it's hard because, again, we're passionate, we're action takers, you know, and I often say I work with impatient action takers, and I'm one of them, which is we want it all and we want it now, and we're like, but what, you know, look at those patterns, look at those trends. Okay, when you are not performing as well, what's happened? Have you been going hell for leather and you've not protected that energy? Are you better to work at a slightly slower pace, but you can be more consistent?
Absolutely. I think that's so important. And we don't realize because we hustle, right? Like everybody talks about hustling these days. They're like, just keep going. And we don't realize that that's actually kind of negative, because if you're hustling so much, there's no energy left. There's no passion. Your fire's gone. So I think that's super important, and people should really pay attention to that. I love also that you brought up time blocking. I love time blocking. How do you do your time blocking? What are some tips or strategies that you have?
So time blocking, again, so many people come at it with, these are all the business activities I have to fit into my week, and now I've not left any time. There is no time for me in there. So I always say, you know, reverse engineer it. So put in all the things like the non-negotiables: food, you know, respite, if you want to go to the gym, if you want to walk the dog in the day, if you know, want to, you know, if you've got to pick up kids from school, block all of that kind of stuff in. If you want to do self-development, so I've just got a bonus of an extra half day on a Friday a week now, when my youngest is going to nursery for an extra half day. So I've got 4.5 days a week. I only work 4 days a week, 20 hours a week. So I was like, oh, shall I work extra? And I was like, no, actually, what can I do? I might go for a run, and I might read, because I love reading. So I might actually put that time to actually have uninterrupted reading on some self-development stuff, because that's you know, I've got a big pile of books that I really want to get through. So actually, you know, so block that in, you know, put those things that are important to you in. Don't just try and think, oh, there's more work to be done, so I'll just fill any extra time with that work. So reverse engineer it, put the life stuff in first, put the self-care in, relationships, all of that kind of stuff in first, and then put your business activities around it. And look at, you know, what are those revenue generating activities? What is it that you need to make, you know, each week, each month? Okay, pop those in. And for some people, this is a real eye-opener, where they say, actually, I'm not charging enough because I actually have to deliver and be client facing for every hour that I have available to work, which is not, you know, which is not a sustainable model, because we've got to market our businesses, we want to develop our businesses and work on the business. So it's around then building in those activities. So I have a day for marketing, I have 2 client-facing days a week, and then I have a day for projects. So just developing, thinking, being creative, and working on the future things. So that's how I time block, and you know, and leave flexibility in there. So I have something called the everything list. So everything, you know, so people are like, oh, a lot of people say, oh, I just got tripped up because I had this to do, that to do, and it wasn't on my list. So I'm like, okay, so I have an everything list, and I schedule time for that everything list. So if something comes in, it goes on the everything list, and I have time where I can then go to that list. It's in my ClickUp system. I use ClickUps for everything. So my brain gets dumped into there, and I can go to that within those time slots. So I can be very focused within the times that I've blocked for marketing and so on and so forth, without being distracted by that other stuff, you know. And I think, again, by having boundaries, so my email autoresponder will say, you know, I pick up my emails, I only check them twice a day, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'll get back to you within 48 hours. You know, clients know I get back within 48 hours on Voxer replies. So I'm not having that feeling of having to be like responding to everything instantly. So I think it's about developing those boundaries that work for you, and really committing to them. because again, it's so easy. And I suck at this sometimes. I try, and I'm pretty good, but there are times when those boundaries, fuzz, and I pick up my phone and I check a Boxer, and out of hours when I'm kind of, with the kids, or I was on the way back from the gym the other day, and I was like, this is not, and it's about being disciplined. And maybe that's taking apps off your phone. Maybe that's saying I'm only going to check Facebook on my computer when I'm sat at my desk. So decide what those things are that are going to help you kind of put those things in place to achieve that.
And no one's perfect, right? If we slip up, that's totally
No,
fine.
God, no.
Just get back up on there and
Yes.
just build your habit, right? I love that you talked about habit, because it's all about taking small actions day after day. If you fall down, come back up and pick yourself up and just keep trying. And I think that's really important to help you maintain the consistency again. Like, coming back to the consistency part, you just need to be consistent with your own habits as well as how you run your business. You talked about flow zone earlier, and I absolutely love that term. For entrepreneurs that's listening right now, they might be brand new, they might be just starting out. How do they figure out exactly what is their flow zone? Like, what should they be focusing on?
Okay, so what we want is to look at your key, what are the activities, that are your most like revenue generating activities. So what are the activities that like give you 80% of your results, so excuse me, for your business? So obviously that's going to be revenue, especially in those early days. So look at what those are, and ideally we want those to sit in the flow zone. But you might be saying, well, actually they don't work for me at the moment. I hate them. I hate my Facebook group, or I hate this, or I hate writing blogs. Sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat.
No worries.
So what I want you to, so if that's the case where you're going, actually none of my revenue generating activities sit in my flow zone, we need to look at how we can change those up. So find those activities that work for you. And I have a marketing archetype quiz that helps you kind of find, from your sort of personality type, from your characteristics, what type of activities are more likely to suit your personality. So I would always say, start with figuring out what your archetype is, so you can kind of tune into, actually, am I really great at, is podcasting going to be really great for me? Is networking going to be great for me? What are those things that actually might light me up, so we can get those in those flow zone activities? But what I'd say is, first of all, just do a big mind map, get a big piece of paper, whatever you want to do, write down every single thing that you do within your business, and then circle the ones where you go, they really bring me joy, they light me up, and they actually, move my business forward, they bring in revenue, and so on and so forth, because that's what we want in that flow zone. And these are the things that where you feel really energized by doing those activities, and when that energy is in the right place. That's really important. So I call it the alignment wheel. So there's four different elements to that. And if you want to know more, by all means, come over and follow me. I talk a lot more about that over on socials and in other trainings. But definitely we want to be in that flow zone. So map it out, figure out what goes in there, and if there's nothing, as I say, that's revenue generating, we need to address that and kind of switch out those strategies and tactics.
That's so perfect. And perfect transition into the freebie that you have for us. Do you mind sharing a little bit more about your work less and earn more freebie?
Yeah, absolutely. So total cliche, obviously, as I say, the work more, work less, earn more. But it really is about how to be more productive. So how to find that focus, and that is coming very much from tapping into that, your marketing archetype. What is it that's right for you, that fits you, that's going to help you build a business really around, built around that working in your flow zone, so you can work less when you're in that zone, and you're not kind of slogging through things that are really in your like frustration and boredom zones, because they're the things we need to stop doing. But so many of us do, and put right at the top of that to-do list. So have a look at that, download that, and tap into that, because I think you'll find it will really help you forward, and kind of just, these are not massive changes that you have to make. You don't have to sort of sit and go, I need to write a whole new sort of strategy. It's going to take me weeks and weeks. These are things that are going to help you just start thinking differently and new approaches to how you do things now.
Yeah, incredible. The link is in the description box for anyone that's listening. You should definitely go and grab it. And where can people connect with you online? Where can people go into your DMs and message you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram, Viv.Guy. I'm also on Facebook, Viv Guy. I'm pretty much easy everywhere, Viv Guy. And you can find me on my website, vivguy.com. So come
Perfect.
on over, come and connect. And at the moment as well, because I know this is going live today, there's also an extra something out until the 15th of September, which is the Business Boost bundle with, it's a big sort of collaborative bundle to help people boost their business in September, put together by an international panel of amazing experts who are really, really passionate about helping people create feel-good businesses. And there's $3,500 worth of resources in there. So go and grab that. Head to the website; it's on there, and you might find some really useful, or you will find some really useful resources in there, from mindset to sales to figuring out your niche. And I've obviously put some free trainings in there as well for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And, you know, like for anyone that's listening, you definitely should check out Viv. Like she's got amazing resources. So make sure to check out her website and follow her on socials. Thank you so much again for being on your Entrepreneur Resources show. I love all the actionable tips and strategies that you've shared. For entrepreneur that's listening, in case you want to get a summary of the interview, make sure to check out our show notes, which I'll link in the description box. We've got our live interviews here with experts twice a week, so make sure to stay tuned and join our community. Thank you so much, Viv, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
My
I'll
absolute
chat with you
pleasure.
very soon, and have a great rest of your